Oh, wave to them? Okay. Just wait a minute till the slides. Gather in spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires kindle the flame, witness the mystery of this hour, our swift light appears for the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit growing in all, winter the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in hope, compassion, and then gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Welcome, one and all, to Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Chandler. My name is Mary Kate Eccles. My pronouns are she, her, and I will be your worship associate today for those of us here in the sanctuary and those of us online. Let's take a moment to wave to our faraway friends. Hi. We welcome all to our faith, all races, sexualities, gender identities, abilities, and oddly enough for religion, beliefs. Each make up the many-colored quilt of our congregation. During service today, if you or a little one needs to take a break, please feel free to use the flex room over here. The service will be played in, so you won't miss a thing. After service, if you have a burden weighing on your heart, please feel free to meet up with our lay pastoral care team. Today in sanctuary, it will be Carlin Knight. Hi, Carlin. And online, it will be Ann Schulte. Please feel free to look in the comments to see how to contact her. Also, you can email the lay pastoral care team all week through the email right on the screen. And for issues that are not mental or spiritual you need assistance with, please feel free to contact our Caring Neighbors team through the new email now on the screen. Now we would like to introduce ourselves to any newcomers. So if you feel comfortable, please feel free to stand. We welcome all to stay for snacks and drinks and chat, and/or make your way over to the welcome circle to ask any questions you may have. We will now light our chalice. With our chalice lighting words, we kindle this flame, symbol of our faith, for the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of love, which calls us to work for justice.
As we do this invitation to worship, you will all join me on the line, come in. So let's try that one time. Come in. Okay, so you'll know, because I'll do that.
All right. You who are brokenhearted, who woke today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind.
Come in.
You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with every step.
Come in.
You who are fearful, who live in shadows, hovering over your shoulders.
Come in.
This place is a sanctuary, and it is for you, you who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows.
Come in.
You who walk through the world with lightness and grace, who woke this morning with strength and hope, you who have everything to give.
Come in.
This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters for your life, a place where you are called by the world's need.
Come in.
Here we offer in love, and here we receive in gratitude. Here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose.
Come in.
In body or spirit, we'll begin singing Building a New Way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Good humid morning to you. I am Sarah Sauter, your interim director of faith formation. I use she, her pronouns. And I would like all the parents to come forward this morning and have a seat for the time for all ages. You can bring your kids with you. Come on out of the flex room. You can bring your kids with you, but I want the parents up here this morning. That's it. Come on up. Tell me if the floor is sticky. Come on out of the flex room, all you that are hiding in there. So this is part 2 of the really long Time for All Ages that I started last week. So right in the middle of it, I said, we're done, and we're going to finish this week. So here we are. If you remember, we were talking about our 6 new values, the really important things that Unitarian Universalists hold close. So let's see if we can remember that. Justice. We work for diverse, multicultural, beloved communities. Equity, we work for peaceful, fair world. Transformation means we keep growing. Pluralism means there's more than one way. Interdependence means that we are all connected. And generosity means that we have loving hearts. Now, these are all really big words. We know that right now, not everybody out there kind of gets the words. You get to spend your whole life figuring out what these mean to you. Now, sometimes it's hard to remember how to remember these values. So does anybody know what a mnemonic is? Is anybody studying music? Anybody studying? No one's studying music? How to read music? Okay, well then you probably heard every good boy deserves fudge. Every good boy deserves fudge. That's how we remember the treble clef. Now, I have a way for you to remember the VUU values. This is Jet Pig. Say hello to Jet Pig. Hello. And you can remember Jet Pig because he's spelled Jetpig. And here's what each letter stands for. J is for justice. E is for equity. P is for pluralism. I is for interdependence. G is for generosity. So now I'm going to toss this to you. J is for, say it, justice. All right, then you toss it to the next person. E is for equity. The next one. T is for transformation. Pig. P. Whoop. P is for plurality. Okay. I is for interdependence. And G, toss that pig. Toss that pig. Over here, we got a pig person waiting. Okay. And G is for generosity. So let's say it again. Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. And what's at the center of all of our values? Love. So let's try and remember what JetPig stands for. And whenever you get asked at any time, what do Unitarian Universalists believe in? You can say justice, equity, transformation, the whole shebang. Now, thank you for letting me tell this story, and I'm inviting your parents and you both to follow me today to faith formation. This is Parents Open House, and it's your chance to meet your child's teacher, to take a look at the curricula that we'll be using this year. And so if you all just follow me.
Kids and parents.
Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile with our wondering weather on that day
There goes our future.
Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world this could be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world this could be if we share, if we care, you and me.
You might not have heard me just say, but there went our future. Yeah. So welcome to a time in the middle of our service where we take a moment to practice being in our bodies, to notice what's there that might be coming from our heart, which may be breaking or opening or celebrating or considering, discerning, all the things that we can feel at different places in our body and know what's up with us. So just take a moment to check in with yourself, to notice the people around you, to be in this space. Notice your breathing. So many things happening in our world today that might be weighing on your mind. Changes, maybe in your personal life, maybe things happening in the political world, perhaps stories of war or famine or tragedy weigh on you. Perhaps there's a personal celebration in your life, something that's so beautiful. It's calling you in, holding you with love. Whatever it is you bring with you today, we want you to bring all of you into this space. I offer these words from Rebecca Beckett Coppola, who went to seminary with me in Colorado. She says, on renewal of the self by letting go of expectation and judgment. Let go of the idea that you know what breathing should feel like. Just notice the breath as it moves in and out of the body. Let go of certainty. Be with the breath as it is. Allow openness. Allow curiosity. Notice the mind. Each thought that arises, allow openness. Don't judge your mind or your experience. Be loving in your curiosity about each thought. Let go of certainty. Let go of any idea about what you should be thinking, accepting your thoughts exactly as they are. Be with yourself as you are. Be curious about who you are. Love how you are in the world. Gently take a deep breath. Maybe even a big sigh. Re-enter the present moment and the stream of your life. And as you sit in this space and notice what is in your body and spirit, if you wish to engage in a ritual to mark what's happening in your spirit, you can light a candle or leave a note for our pastoral care team. You can add a stone to our water fountain or some drops of water. You can pick up a stone and hold it or put it in sand. If there's something tactile that your body needs to do to mark what's happening inside, feel free to do that. And also feel free to sit and sing or breathe or just be. And Noel and Lynn will lead us in a little bit of singing.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know my soul will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
So today we're going to be talking about liminal space. The first time I heard the concept of liminal space, I immediately connected it with this section from Oh, the Places You Will Go by Dr. Seuss that I recalled from my childhood. I will read it to you now. You can get so confused that you'll start to race down a long wiggled road at a breaknecking pace, to grind on for miles in a weird wildest space, headed, I fear, to the most useless of place, the waiting place. For people just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, waiting around for a yes or a no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for a Friday night, or perhaps waiting for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone just waiting. No. That's not for you. Somehow you'll escape that waiting and staying. You'll find the right place where the boom bands are playing, with the banners flip-flapping. Once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky, ready because you're that kind of guy. As optimistic as Seuss is with this sentiment, I found breaking out of mental liminal space a bit more difficult than flipping a switch with a can-do attitude. I find there's time between making a decision necessary to break out of a bad cycle or a mindset and actually being able to do it. In my first library job, part-time library assistant, I was so excited to finally have a job in my desired field. But the branch I got hired at was a bit far away from where I was living, and I thought since Google Maps said it was 20 minutes to get there, there would never be any traffic or construction or parking troubles or time spent walking from the car to the building. It would always just be 20 minutes, and I'd only have to leave 20 minutes early. My direct supervisor pulled me aside one day and told me in the kindest way possible, I've noticed a pattern of lateness. her exact words. I had nothing to say because it was absolutely true. I went home that day and cried and swore I would never be late again, and made all the necessary preparations to arrive a little bit early every day instead of a little bit late. But in this case, only time would tell. Proving yourself and earning trust and many of the other worthy relational endeavors take time. And you have to be that kind of guy while spending time in the waiting place.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Have you ever felt like the plans you made have all gone awry? And your life has been hijacked by changes you didn't ask for, you don't always like, and can't easily get rid of? Anyone? Okay, seems like a pretty human experience. And these moments can suddenly take us in a different, unpredictable direction. And sometimes that's a welcome change, right? But often it isn't, or at least we feel unprepared for the changes that come with change and what they require of us. Sometimes we can see a change on the horizon that we might resist, something we know we should embrace or prepare for, but which we might try to avoid, usually to no avail. Maybe you can think of some examples in your own life. Even when we instigate the change, like we purposely chose something, change can have a life of its own, and it can bring unpredicted outcomes. Moving to a new city, changing jobs, getting a new boss or a coworker, getting married. I mean, we chose that one, and it comes with a lot of change. And not all of it's stuff we chose. Getting divorced, surgery, having a baby, going to college, graduating from college. There's always plot twists that we didn't bargain for and we couldn't predict. When my oldest kid applied to a study abroad program in Germany, at first, I treated it like a great exercise in applying to things, right? Great, you filled out that application. That was a great experience because I didn't actually think she'd get in. And then when I was faced with the reality that she was going to be gone for 10 months, her whole sophomore year of high school, we figured, okay, we'll host a German student in our house, and it'll be like nothing changed, right? Just traded a teenager for another teenager. What could go wrong? And a young lady came to stay with us, but within 2 weeks, she was so homesick she couldn't stay. And so sadly, she flew back to Germany. And I chalked part of that up to the reality of living in Topeka, Kansas. But then a second student came, and she lasted about 5 months. And in that 5 months, I learned a lot about myself. She was kind of like having an interim kid. All of a sudden, I was seeing our lives and our town from the perspective of someone who hadn't known me their whole life and also wasn't stuck with me forever. I tried to learn what kind of music she liked and played in the car, what kinds of foods she liked. And we looked for fun things to do in Kansas. And we took her to Texas at Christmas. Plot twist, we all got the flu. It wasn't very fun. During this time, I saw how much our lives revolved around my work and how little time we scheduled to do fun things. My kid was in Germany having the time of her life with a family that took real vacations and had hobbies. And this kid was stuck in Kansas with me, with us, trying to figure out why shootings seemed to happen everywhere and why I never had a weekend off. Now, some of that was different financial capacities of the family in Germany and ours, but some of it was just me being overaccustomed to overworking. And I'd like to say I was able to change all of that overnight, but really it took the whole time that Allie was away for me to shift. And when she came home, we all had new ideas about how to spend our time with each other. I knew we needed to find affordable ways to do fun things together, and I needed to schedule my time off with this in mind. And Allie actually came home interested in being a big sister and enjoying her family, which honestly hadn't been much of a thing before that. So a new way emerged from a liminal time. When we were listening to someone else's story about a change, it can seem entertaining or exciting or at least a little interesting. The plot twists bring tensions into the story. You guys were right there with me in my moments there. But when the plot twists are our own, rather than deepening our interests, the twists can make us feel stress and fear even. I mean, sometimes a plot twist seems lucky. Sometimes we experience it as a tragedy. Sometimes we feel like we're living with uncertainty into an unknown future, and that can feel kind of queasy. But lucky or unlucky, there are certain to be tricksters and battles, and until we live out the full story, the sum of these changing fortunes won't be known. Often, we want it to go back to the way it was, and instead, we find ourselves marooned in a place that is in between, where we can't tell what's going to happen, and we don't know what is even possible. Maybe it feels scary, like for that first student. She just couldn't get behind and beyond the scary part. Or maybe you feel stuck. Maybe sometimes it feels depressing or overwhelming. Or maybe you're like me and you're really good at denial, and you just keep doing things the way you've always done them in hopes that it will all turn out to be a bad dream. Kind of like your version of the red slippers, right? There's no place like home. There's no place like home. It's all going to go away. We want to fast forward to the end when things feel right again and we've restored our lives. But we forget that they won't be so much restored as revised, developed from a revision that is a result of the changes we've experienced. That in-between place might be a few days or a few months or a few years. I mean, I know the girl that went home after 2 weeks went home different. And the girl that went home after 5 months definitely went home different. And my kid who was gone 10 months definitely came home different. All of those experiences were changing ones. Sometimes it can be a few months or a few years or sometimes decades. And if we really step back, we can look at it like a whole era, right? Like the Middle Ages as a liminal time. But more often, it's like a few months that feel like a whole era, right? Our metaphor for this might be a desert, 40 days in the desert, or an isolated forest, or an apocalypse. It can be a seed dormant under the snow, or a pregnancy. It can be the bridge in a song, or the canvas repainted in one color in preparation for the new painting. All of those are liminal time. And liminal time is that time in between the old and the new, when there are openings for something new to be born, but we haven't discovered or committed to a particular future. Liminal time feels ambiguous and disorienting, but our lives are full of liminal experiences, seasons where something has ended, but a new thing has not yet taken shape. It hasn't begun. Seasons where watching and waiting can be difficult, over-planning can be futile, and we really can't predict what's going to happen next. Now, during the pandemic, Valley Unitarian Universalist experienced a ministerial transition, and you hired an interim minister. But that transition didn't end when you hired me as your settled minister, right? We've still been in transition with each other. We've been learning about each other and continuing the interim work you began then over the last 2 years. And we're also engaging in interim work together in our faith formation programs with Sarah. We're experiencing leadership changes all over. Even our longtime music program director, who was here for 30 years, more than twice the amount of time that any other staff member has ever been here, who left right before COVID for new career opportunities, that began another liminal time. A time when we explore together and begin to do things differently because something's changed. We ask new questions, prod a little, maybe allow ambiguity. Something else that's happening all around us and right here as well is that church and faith communities are changing. Fewer people are choosing to be engaged in faith communities, and many people are leaving faith communities they grew up in to join new ones that might be very different from the ones you grew up in. How many folks in this room started off in a totally different faith tradition somewhere? Yeah. And how many of you have come to this one in the last 5 years? Yeah. That changes both you and the institution you're part of because you're bringing in things from where you've been. Many of you are here because you wanted some aspects of being in a congregational community, but you also wanted some things to be different. And arriving here, you've come with your own questions and expectations about how this might work or what you don't like, what you hope for. And church itself, belonging to a congregation, is in a state of flux, changing and leaving us in a place where many things don't seem to work the way they used to. So we're trying on new ways of being together and trying to figure out what will work for all of us as we move forward together, bringing all that diversity of experience and expectation. So really, we're facing multiple layers of change, and it might feel like sometimes we're exceeding our tolerance for change. It's okay. You don't have to raise your hand, but you might feel that way. Like, okay, that was the thing too many. I'm tired. How much more change do I got to do, right? And post-pandemic, I know, and I don't even know, post-pandemic, I feel like I need to use these for that, because are we really post? We're endemic now, so I guess it's post-pandemic. I know a lot of us long to go back to the way it was pre-March 2020. But that place doesn't exist anymore, right? Lots of things have changed, and we'll probably never go back to the way they were before. For people, for businesses, for families, for organizations, for cities, like that place doesn't exist anymore. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I find myself resisting change even as it is already a reality. Like somehow I'm looking out on it and I'm pretending that what I'm looking at is the thing I used to look at instead of the thing that's actually there. Anyone else having that experience? Yeah, I see you nodding your head. Now, for those of you who don't know, last year we worked with a minister named Reverend Sam Wilson, and she worked with us for a year on managing conflict and change, and she taught us to check in with our limbic system to see how we were managing anxiety in our bodies. And she used a scale of 1 to 10. So like at the bottom end of that scale, you might be experiencing so little anxiety that you aren't even aware that something's happening. Or you might be experiencing enough anxiety in the middle of that scale where you're interested and engaged in what's happening. You know that something's happening. Or so much anxiety that we're trying to run away, like, how fast can I get out of this room? Or you're frozen in place and you can't actually engage with any of it. That's at the top of the scale. The question for each of us is whether our limbic system is engaged in a way that's helpful to us or is preventing us from doing what needs to be done. Now, in some cases, what needs to be done first is to grieve a loss and acknowledge our pain, to notice what isn't working anymore, to actually notice what's in front of us as it is. And it's hard to move away from something comfortable and known towards something that can't yet be known. And on the other hand, it can be exhausting trying to keep the old structures intact, managing the anxiety of the transition, and making space for the birth of the new thing all at the same time. I mean, something has to give. Or rather, we need to let go of something first in order to make room for what may come. So how can we make the most of liminal time? Maybe instead of focusing on organizational planning and strategies, we might move instead into a more spiritual approach, which means we allow ourselves to move from decision-making to discernment and focus on the soul of ourselves, of the organization. The soul is the authentic and truest self of the organization, the source of divine calling and character, and the protector of institutional integrity. So in liminal seasons, we rely on the soul of the institution to guide our leadership choices and our learning. So I wonder what the soul of Valley Unitarian Universalist is and how much it might guide us. You can think about the soul of other organizations too, your family, where you work. Liminal time goes something like this. Something happens to separate us from the way things are, and we enter a time of liminality, and then we make our way into a time of reorientation. And sometimes we develop practices that will help us, something that will ground us, like what we did in the middle of our service. They help us be present and ask questions, practices that can help us see ourselves and each other more clearly. They usually help us slow down, right? The reading that Mary Kate had, we're just like, oh, let's move really fast. And instead, these practices help us slow down and notice what's happening in my body. What am I present to? What's happening with the people around me? What do they need? What do I need? These can be described as moving from knowing to unknowing, from advocating to attending. So you're moving away from like, it has to be this way, to like attending to what's needed. You're asking questions. From striving to surrender. I know a lot of you don't like that word, you surrender. You don't like to feel powerless. But surrender is not about being powerless. It's about actually acknowledging what is actually there and not pretending it's not there. Some of the tasks or phases in a liminal time include deepening your shared reflection, shaping our shared memory, maybe clarifying our purposes, and engaging in something called emergence. These are the ideas and the possibilities that come from the changes we've experienced and explored. Like, my emerging idea was, oh, I could plan my time off better. Wow, wouldn't our lives look different if I did that? And a new way emerged. So this year, and by the way, this lives at the national level too, right? We have a huge election happening, new people moving into leadership at all areas of our shared lives, in cities and in states and, presidential. So that shift is happening also at that meta level for us. So here in this space, in this shared organization, we have a new board, we have a new program year, new committees and work groups. You have new staff coming and going. And I hope that you will be invited to see how change is living in and through you. Susan Beaumont says that in communal discernment, we move beyond the personal to see what is present and possible with the collective whole. But first, you got to notice what's going on here so you can notice what's going on out here. The longer that you've been here, the more investments you've made of your time and overtime, the harder it might be to engage the change. Because change is hardest when we experience a greater sense of loss and disorientation. So this year we'll be exploring our deepest held values, our stories, and dreaming together about our future. John Rouse says that stories are told as spells for binding the world together. And Thomas King says that the truth about stories is that they are all we are. So what stories are we telling? How are they serving us? Reverend Sam gave us the metaphor of this congregation as a grandma, a 60-year-old grandma, whose porch we gather on to tell stories and nurture each other and plant the seeds for the future. The ingredients for transformation are already here. We aren't throwing things away. But like the butterfly that emerges from the chrysalis, the way these ingredients combine may create something we wouldn't predict. Like the caterpillar becomes a goo of unstructured life inside before becoming the butterfly. That's the magic of liminal time. There's a lot of goo where you don't know what it's going to look like. And then there's the magic emerging. The stories that we tell are the ingredients in the cocoon. They allow us as a community to discern what is most important. And Beaumont says amid disruption and disorientation, we determine what is worth preserving, what can be released, and what must be adapted. So we get to ask ourselves, what's the next thing we do together? And Beaumont calls this finding approximate purpose. It's the like right now. What's the next step? And the questions that we ask while we're doing this are, who are we? Who are we here to serve? What do we stand for? And what are we being called to do or become next? Now, thankfully, liminality does have a conclusion, and it's emergence. What's hard about emergence is that it is truly an organic event. Emergence develops from a climate of disruption, right? We started with change that we didn't want, or that was doing things we didn't always get to predict. A climate of disruption and innovation, learning and risk-taking, trying new things, being uncomfortable with how the new things feel. That's the goo in the cocoon. Because we need to unlearn old behaviors and challenge the status quo, experiment, take risks, and learn. We also need leaders that create a container for us to do these things. And it's not a linear process, and it involves making mistakes and doing new things. And it is uncomfortable, but it is also the sacred space where the old world is able to fall apart and a bigger world is revealed. So if we can allow ourselves to be drawn out of business as usual and remain patiently on the threshold where we are betwixt and between the familiar and the completely unknown, we may be able to experience true transformation, to become the brilliant colors and wings that emerge. Each of us, every day, have stories of gratitude and surprise, stories of struggle and of finding ourselves and figuring out how to live out a deeply cherished vision of what we'd like to see happen in our lives and in our communities, in our congregations. Sometimes we're so caught up in the everyday details, we miss the beauty. We miss the moments where grace allowed us an opportunity to see and connect with something radiant and powerful and larger than the path we are on. But sometimes we are fully present and we look up to see the whole labyrinth that we're walking, not just the steps right in front of us, and the world beyond our path, and yet still somehow part of our path. And sometimes that path is lit with the lights of a million hearts, ushering us into the next spiral of our journey, where new life awaits and new challenges summon. But my prayer for you today is that each of you have the strength and capacity to keep walking the path you are on, to make the turns you need to make, and know that you can never truly be lost and you are not alone. And may you and I do this work together as well, knowing that we are never alone. May the path be lit wherever we go, and may the wings we need emerge from the cocoon. Blessed be.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
I keep seeing all the elements of Jet Pig. So here's the G in Jet Pig, generosity. We take a moment in our services to pass the plate. You can put something in it. You can do this digitally. You can let it pass by. If you're a guest, your presence here is gift enough. But know that this is one of the many ways that we support the work of this congregation and its partners. We help support other organizations in this community that help do the things we can't do alone, like feeding folks and housing folks and advocating for policies that make our world a better place together. So we'll pass the plate, and we will sing a song together that Noelle's going to lead us in.
Please remain seated, at least until remain seated. Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on when sorrow heals my soul and burdens make me strong. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. My sister in my heart, my brother in my song. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. And though the journey is long, the destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. Just take my hand and sister, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know I can go on.
We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves by fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know.
This is as it should be. Together, we are more than one person could be. Together, we can build across the generations. Together, we can renew our hope and faith in life that is yet to unfold. Together, we can heed the call to a ministry of care and justice.
We are ever bound in community. May it always be so. And we're about to sing what I call the marathon of VUU songs. If you get tired, it's fine. Just take a little break. Somebody will keep singing next to you. The words are just right. And it's okay. Sometimes we sing long songs. Liminal time can be like that too, right? Long, but good.
of
you made it. And we found some answers along the way. And now we are going to extinguish our chalice with these words. If you're new and you want to have a conversation in the welcome circle, join us there. And there's always something to eat and drink. So make merry and join me now. Though we extinguish the chalice, our connection to each other and this, may its light guide us as we walk words of love and fill our world.